954, ang tinig ng katotohanan, himpilan ng Iglesia ni Cristo, sumasahimpapawid mula sa Quezon City.
Let's open our devices and listen now. Let's have some fun, and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening. INCRadio podcast, we're here to hear.
Yay! What's up, hello, podcast family, and welcome to the 6th episode of our season, yung ating season of The Balanced Blueprint, part 1. You're tuning in to INCRadio Podcast, the podcast that resonates with you. Good morning and good evening to everyone who's tuning in. This is your Kuya Jacob Estrella, together with me. Hello, good morning. Ay, gabi na pala. What's up?
Oh, Bandito Jacob. But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of our lovely viewers. This is your podcast host, Angelica, and this episode is a continuation of our season, The Balanced Blueprint Part 1, where we were talking about topics that involve balancing your personal, social, and academic life. Because balance is a practice that is essential to develop, especially at a young age. So last episode, we dove into reconstructing your academic equilibrium, where we explored ways to regain balance and stability in your academic life, especially after stress or burnout. And today, we're back with part 2 of that conversation.
Nice. I like that. Eto na. But of course, you want our podcast family to, of course, join our conversation too. So let's segue to our podcast episode question of today, Ate Angelica. As always, for all of our live viewers, please feel free to leave your answer in the live chat below. And for those who are viewing this lovely episode after this has been aired, please feel free to share with us your response to our question in our Gmail. Yes, our podcast at INCRadio.net. Eto na. Ate Angelica, ito ang ating podcast episode question of our episode today. What is one habit that helps you stay balanced with your school and life? That is what we want to know from all of you, diba, Ate Angelica?
That's right. Now, before we head off to our main discussion, we'd like to give our special thanks to Ka Angela Rania V. Manalo, our CEBSI president and CEO. Most of all, we'd like to thank our dearest executive minister, Ka Eduardo V. Manalo. We love you both. Now that we've talked about how to regain balance last episode, let's actually have, let's focus our discussion on some practical tips and strategies to actually maintain that academic equilibrium long term. So,
Ano ba yung mga tips?
What are some daily habits or routines that that help you to maintain your academic equilibrium in the long term? Because I know you're involved in a lot of different things.
Yeah, yes. I am. Diba? Sobrang explosive ng schedule. I think we all have that. But I experienced that now. Back then, I don't believe people who say na sobrang busy ko, ganyan. Weh. now that I experienced that myself. But okay, I understand all of you now. Even Ate Angelica, you have also, diba, ang napaka explosive na schedule, diba? That's something that we could all relate to. What I do, I think, is that kapag in terms of balancing, and maintaining the equilibrium, I always make sure that I start my day right. Parang ganun lagi.
Right.
Kasi it's always that. Parang gusto ko morning pa lang, I'm already in a good mood. Kasi madali ako madala ng energy ko in the morning pa lang eh. So I make sure that I start it right. I start with a prayer. I do positive affirmations. Sobrang cliche. Other people would say it's corny, but it really does work. Kasi if not, tas parang ang sama na ng mood ko sa umaga pa lang. Tas umaga pa lang may programs tayo, 'di ba? We have morning shows on weekdays. So ang pangit, 'di ba, na soggy yung energy. Ano to, fries?
Parang nag-learn.
So parang ganon. Ganun natin, Anjay. I always make sure that I start my day right. Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that's really important to consider because how we start our day definitely influences the rest of our day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, just to add on to that, is how I prepare for my day
Okay.
is also really important.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I actually have a calendar where I put all the things that I'm going to be doing that day. If I have, lecture, if I have meetings, if wherever I need to be,
Mm-hmm.
if there's events or maybe activities for church, I break that down on my calendar so that way I could visually see what it is that I need to do that day, where I need to be, what it is that I need to accomplish that day.
Yeah.
And this is something that I actually learned about myself last summer. So a lot of the times people start their day with
Okay.
caffeine. But everyone's body is different. And so what I learned about myself is that I do have energy in the morning and I try to stay away from caffeine unless I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of figured out how to make my energy last throughout the day. Whereas I don't start my day with caffeine, I just eat my regular breakfast, but I'll drink coffee later in the day, not in the evening, but
Yes.
like some point like after lunch
Mm-hmm.
rather than drinking coffee in the
Some
morning.
morning.
So
Yeah.
that way my energy, I maintain it throughout the rest of the day.
I
Because
uh-uh.
have energy in the morning, so then drinking coffee or getting some sort of caffeine in the middle of the day or a little bit in the afternoon helps me to stay awake and productive for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. Ganyan din ako, Ate Angelica. Even though we have we have morning shows on weekdays and it's really early na parang kapag if you have no energy then ang pangit ng energy. Well, um, I don't drink caffeine as well. I feel like kapag uminom ako ng kape sa umaga, mawawala din yun ng tanghali. Like ganon.
Exactly. And you
Diba?
don't want to either drink coffee.
Yes, and even though may program kami, tara kami na, and like, I'm someone who like throw myself out there and introduce myself as a coffee drinker. I don't want to, overdose myself with caffeine. I just make sure yun tama yun. I do that as well. Kapag feeling ko it's a pretty busy day, I drink coffee ng mga 11:00 ng tanghali. Because usually my activities my busy activities would run from noon until evening. Ganun yung busy ng araw ko. Kaya ayoko na nagkakape sa umaga, tapos may hapon na naman. So, no. I like that. No, na hindi natin masyadong, I don't know, we don't pressure ourselves to na mabombard sa isang araw pa lang. That's why yung calendar system na sinasabi mo, I apply that to myself as well. Kasi I want everything to be at ease. I don't want to be rattled na, hala, what am I gonna do today? Hala, may ganito pala. Oh no, ayoko na. Tulog na lang ako. And because I've experienced that before, Ate Angelica. Yung nagugulat na lang ako na, hala, ang dami ko palang deadlines na hindi nagawa kasi hindi ko na-plot. That's why plotting is really
Right.
important. Kapag may mga moments, of course, we both are, parang sobra tayong nag-grasp sa planning. Ganun tayong mga tao, di ba? We plan everything out. We write everything down. We calendar everything down. Pero of course, there are moments that, nasa surprise tayo ng challenges kasi, challenges are really unexpected. How do you balance that off with your academic life? Na parang hindi naman maapektuhan yung academic journey mo despite of the challenges that, unexpectedly pops out the window.
I think one of the things that is really important for all students to understand is that we are human beings who experience life.
Mm-hmm.
So things aren't going to be consistent in every single part of your life.
Yes.
Sometimes things will go wrong or go in a direction that you might not necessarily have planned it to or expected it to. And so it's natural that we experience unexpected changes or challenges that might throw us off our academic balance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most important thing is to kind of acknowledge the disruption, but don't waste your time and your mental energy focusing on the fact that you were thrown off your academic equilibrium.
Yeah,
It's like you need to focus on, okay, acknowledge what happened, but then shift your focus to what can actually be done
that's right.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not necessarily in alignment with everything that you planned, don't let it throw you so far off that you get even farther away from what you originally planned to do. Kind of building that level of resilience where you keep going despite anything that might throw you off.
You know, that's something that I really learned when I started living alone here for college. Kasi, of course, back then, if I experienced problems or kung may mga challenges, my parents are always there to guide me, to help me with everything. Pero now I'm on my own and I don't want to, burden them with the knowledge that I am, struggling here. Kasi baka isipin nila, edi umuwi ka na lang dito. Mapauwiin nila ako. So what I do is I really try to, do everything and solve everything on my own first. At kapag sobrang hindi ko na talaga kaya, that's when the time na talagang tatawag na ako sa kanila and tell them my problems. Well, this is not to discourage people out there to not be open with your parents. Pero I am open with my parents. Pero pagdating nga sa mga moments where I feel na kaya ko naman, why won't I, provide the solution myself? Unexpected challenges, they really rattle me out. I am someone who's quite emotional. So I think yun muna talaga yung ginagawa ko. I absorb everything in, just like what you said. Like absorb everything in. Sometimes I cry kapag feeling ko this is too much for my heart. Like why am I experiencing this?
You have to make sure that you regulate your emotions.
Yes. Yes.
Acknowledge emotions. And I think that's valid because I think that where you are, not living with your parents at the moment, it's an opportunity for you to expand your level of independence, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's important for us to be open with our parents, but also we're growing up. So it's important that we apply what our parents have been
Taught us.
teaching
Yes,
us.
exactly.
And it's important for us to grow that level of independency because our parents have guided us throughout the years. And so there's a lot of learnings that we learned from our parents
Yeah.
that, this opportunity, especially for those that are in college, it's an opportunity to apply what your parents have been teaching you. And so I think it's normal, of course, to first regulate your emotions because we care about the work that we do and we
Yeah.
care about everything else in our life and how it balances out. So it's only normal to regulate those emotions.
Yeah. The thing that I always tell myself is that kung may mga pagkakataon man talaga na challenges na mahirap, na dumaraan, of course, prayer is number one for us. And then after that,
Right.
we'll just have to, I just tell myself now, this too shall pass. This challenge will surely pass. I just have to live through it and experience it and make sure that I will, and I know that I will succeed. And malalagpasan talaga siya, right? How about, ano pa ba, Ate Angelica?
So there are, moments when, of course, we get thrown off our academic balance, but there's also moments when we progress, right? In terms of pursuing our academic goals. So in what ways do you think that you can measure progress toward your academic goals without overwhelming yourself? So if you're trying to keep yourself on track, how do you measure that type of progress that you're making towards whatever goals you have? Like, for example, if you have 3 goals, how do you measure that without overwhelming yourself?
Um, sobrang helpful ng meron kang mga kasama. Yeah, I think that is really helpful. Na meron kang, you have people na you can lean on or kaya,
Kind
yeah.
of by having people to hold you accountable for
Yeah,
that type of
exactly. And I have 3 friends. I have 3 friends and marami akong friends pero I have 3 friends in school na talagang academics talaga yung fino-focus namin kasi we were friends, we were classmates since junior high and unfortunately we chose the same program. So mag-classmate kami ngayon, magka-blockmates kami. So it's the 3 of us and we make sure that we're always progressive. We help each other out when in making sure that that we fill the checklists. Parang wala kaming nami-miss na activities, or like we study every scope na binigay sa amin, because in the degree that we're pursuing now, it's really important that you read everything that is given to you, kasi
Right.
kapag may na-miss ka talaga, then you'll be missing a major chunk of answers or concepts that is being asked from you. Kaya yun siguro yung isa sa mga ways para hindi rin ako ma-overwhelm. And I'm someone who's really sociable. I need someone, kahit hindi man nila ako tulungan, I just need people to be here with me. Kasi if I'm alone, I just cry and hide in a corner. Ganun. How about you? How about you? Ay, alam mo, ngayon ko lang na-realize wala ka na palang braces. Oh!
You only realize that now. No, it's really only been a month. So.
Oh, yeah? Oo nga pala. Well, yeah, iba kapag gumingiting walang braces na parang may liwanag.
You're like, you just feel so free. Thus, you feel the need to smile unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Kasi pinagkira mo talaga yung ngiti mo, pinaghirapan mo.
Kaya nga eh, tsaka mahal-mahal. Mahal-mahal nun, yung pagmamayabang. Anyway.
For my answer to this question, actually that's where we're the opposite. Kuya Jaycon. I am the type, when it comes to studying, I like to be very independent.
Mm-hmm.
I can't have people like with me as a sort of way to hold like myself accountable.
Yeah.
I like to be very independent when it comes to studying, because I can't do study groups. I can't study with people. I think the only time that I've ever really enjoyed working with people, I would say, is if you're on a good team and you have like a project or assignment.
Okay.
But for me, when I'm thinking of tasks like studying, I need like really, really intense concentration. So I need like pure silence.
You do it
It's
alone,
not something that I can do with other people. And so when I'm thinking about how do I measure my progress towards my academic goals, I kind of going back to how I have my calendar set up, I use a lot of visual trackers.
Okay.
So it's kind of, for me, it's like it comes in the form of checklists.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that in a lot of ways, when you are able to check off things on your checklist,
Satisfying, no? Yeah.
yes, it's really satisfying to see that slowly, bit by bit, you're getting things done, especially when you have like your daily to-do list, because that's what I usually have. When you're able to check things off, you're able to see and give yourself credit too for working hard throughout the day. And you're able to celebrate the little tasks that you're accomplishing on a daily basis, which helps to keep you going. And another thing is that, especially when it comes to our studies, I think oftentimes students, they measure their progress based on numbers because they're looking at everything by a grade.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to celebrate than just the number,
just the grade,
or the letter on that paper. Because especially when you're in college, I feel like every single major, there's always something, a part of it that makes it difficult. And I find that a lot of majors are difficult, but in different ways. And so I think it's important to just celebrate, in general, your effort, that consistency that you're putting in to study, not just focusing on the outcomes, but the effort behind that outcome. So it might not be perfect all the time, but that effort that you put in studying, in working hard, and being concentrated, all of that deserves to be celebrated as well.
That's so true. That is something na isa pa sa mga learning progress or learning curves ko coming into college, Ate Angelica. Kasi, of course, junior high, senior high, I really wanted to attain,
all A's.
like A's or kaya 99 and kung 100 pwede pa eh. Pero I've come to a point where that really don't matter to me anymore. As long as I am passing. Pero syempre kung pinaghirapan ko naman talaga, I do want to see a good number in my report card. Pero kung pakiramdam ko naman na talagang natuto naman ako, di ba? I was like, I'm happy learning this, even though I feel like in exams hindi ganun kaganda yung grades, di ba? Then that doesn't matter to me anymore. Ang importante lang ay makatapos. Ganun na iniisip ko. I'm sure, of
Yeah, I
course,
think
andyan pa rin yung goal, di ba, na to reach a specific
right.
accolade. Pero if hindi siya bibigay, then that's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to always aim high and set your goals
Mhm.
high. But it's also important to know when to be satisfied with where you're at. As long as
Yeah.
you know that you've tried your best, you've prayed, you've prepared for whatever it is that you're doing for school. It's important to find contentment in your accomplishments, not always necessarily only finding satisfaction or contentment when it's perfect, but
Yeah, that's
in
so
the
true.
moments when you know that you worked hard,
Yeah,
especially.
and I've been joining a lot of organizations lately, especially in school. We have the school publication. We also have our special task force, and parang dun ko nakita na school and learning, it's more than just the grade. It's this. This is what I came here for. This is what I came here for. Learning, of course, attaining the or attaining the degree that I've been seeking for. And of course, socialization and learning stuff that are beyond my modules or beyond the learning guides. Parang ganun. It's really satisfying to attain that. Yeah.
And learning is more than just, what's in the books. It's definitely more than just the information that you're learning about. It's also an entire experience. And, that's something that I've
Yeah.
definitely experienced, especially as a business major.
Yeah.
A lot of my learnings come from applying things. Um, so, getting to work with my peers, networking, learning from each other, learning from my professors, participating whenever competitions there are and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, getting to apply what it is I'm learning, not necessarily always about the books.
Yes.
So, moving on to our next question, what are some common misconceptions about academic success? And how can changing your perspective help you achieve better balance?
Uh, for me, common misconception. Siguro ano talaga, yung parang if you're not, yung parang if you are not, uso kasi mag-shift. Uso kasi mag-shift dito sa Pilipinas. Do you ever get that feeling? Like, I want to switch majors. I want to change this degree.
Yes, but I think that that switch in my head where it's just like I want to pursue something else was something that I went through transitioning from high school to college. So I feel like it's not something. I think there's certain things that I would change about the way that like my academic curriculum or the coursework was set up. At my school, I would change some things, but I don't think I went through so much of like
Yes.
my whole entire major I want to change.
Yeah. Yun siguro yung sa akin talaga right now. Sabi nila, if you're not happy with what you're studying right now, then shift. I'm not against shifters. Ano bang tawang term sa mga estudyante yung shift? Shifters? Shift na degree. I think, kasi nga naman, sinasabi ko naman, just finish the degree. Just finish it. Kung kaya mo siyang tapusin, kahit hindi ka masaya, then find happiness in something else. Diba? If it's not the degree, then find something. Kaya sumasali ako sa org. Hindi naman sa hindi ako masaya sa degree ko. It's like, I want to... I want to find something that would give me more happiness. That's why I have different organizations. And sabi nga nila, kapag natap, everything happens or the real life happens after college. Diba? So, yun yung naging mindset ko ngayon. If I'm dumating man sa point na I'm no longer happy in Pol Sci, then pero kaya ko pa rin naman siyang tapusin, then that wouldn't make me shift my course. Hindi ako mag-shift. Siguro hanap na lang nga ako ng kasiyahan from other stuff. Kasi gusto ko rin naman siyang tapusin. There is no such thing as pure happiness in life, especially in college. Talagang mahirap, talagang masakit, talagang malungkot. 'Di ba? And pero it's iba-iba naman tayo. That's for me. That's for me. That's how I see it. I think I will still succeed even though dumating nga yung point na mapagod na ako, but I'd still do it. Di ba? Hindi na ako masaya, but I'd still do it. Parang dun pumapasok yung balance for me talaga, ate. Na even though na parang may mga certain emotions na parang I don't want to pursue this anymore, there are degrees that I would want na parang, for example, communication or like theater, parang yun yung mga interests ko eh. Pero hindi ko sila ipapursue not because I don't want to, but because I know that I can experience them without having to actually pursue them as a degree. And what I'm doing right now in political science, I need to get this degree in order for me to, get pasukin yung mundo ng legal field. Parang ganun yung nakikita ko dyan, Ate Angelica. What do you think? I don't know. You're better than me. You're better than me.
I agree naman. I think in a lot of ways too. A lot of students, they think that if they major in one specific thing, they can't find or enter careers that are different from that because there's a lot of different types of careers that are more interconnected. I mean, that's something for me in business, whereas, I might be doing this one thing, I might be majoring in economics, but I can enter a lot of different other types of careers that are not specifically related to econ.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot here actually in the States, where a lot of the times people don't end up in careers that are related to their major in the first place.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even with your major, don't ever feel like you have to be so stuck. There's still so much out there and so many different ways that you can probably figure out ways that your skills that you have built through your major might be transferable, so you can pursue other career paths if you are thinking of, changing your career, or you're looking for something else.
That's
so don't
true.
ever feel like you're so stuck.
Yeah.
I think it's actually already time
Ay, sorry.
to wrap up our episode.
Oo nga pala. Go ahead.
And so for our Christian value takeaway, as Christians, maintaining our academic equilibrium is not just about managing our academic responsibilities. It's about doing so with purpose and discipline that honors God. Maintaining our academic equilibrium means not only staying on top of our studies, but also making time for the things that nourish our faith.
I love that. When we face unexpected challenges or feel overwhelmed, let's remember that we can rely on God's strength naman talaga, and wisdom's help to help us regain balance. By trusting in His guidance, practicing self-care, and aligning our academic goals with His purpose, we can navigate the pressures of life while staying grounded in our faith. Ultimately, balancing our academic life with God's will allows us to serve Him faithfully and in every area of our lives.
As we wrap up today's episode, we'd like to give our thanks to you, our lovely viewers. Thank you for joining us for the episode today. And we hope to see you in our next episode so that we can all keep growing in faith, one INCRadio podcast episode at a time.
Yay! And as always, we would love to hear from all of you. So please reach us out for any comments, suggestions, questions, and email us via podcast@incradio.net. Goodbye, everyone. This is Good Jacob and at the Angelica. And because here at INC Radio Podcast, we're here to hear. Bye, everyone. See you next week.
So,
Open our devices and listen now. Let's have some fun, and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening.